Also, this is a part two of the first different partaking of the first installment of this. Part two, because reading over some of the other comments, we talked about Miss T's comment, but there were other comments talking about how, you know, there was, okay, with the LGBTQ, the reason this is so crucial, so important that people get this is because this is a direct assault. One of the reasons is direct assault when you heard it many times, whites compare blacks and say, well, why are you prejudiced against these people when you were discriminated against? So you should know how discrimination feels. Well, excuse us. We need to identify with the same type of people that they're discriminating against today. The most discriminated people in America are aborted babies. You just heard the ruling came out in certain states that said we will not consider this person, this embryo or whatever I call it a baby, because if you let nature take its course, it's going to be a baby. But they said we would not consider this as any individual rights. It's not a person. And it's the same thing, if you remember what? Somebody please tell me. It's the same thing that they did for slavery. They said the slaves weren't people. They were property. Remember that? And so it's the same thing, the argument for abortion today is it's the mother's property, it's her body, it's this, it's that. When we need to understand boundaries and how they are, the baby is a separate person, the mom is a separate person. You have several men who have wanted to have the babies, and the mom still abort the baby. So it's a lot of blood being shed in the name of, oh, these people are not people. These little babies are not people. So we need more dialogue with this. We need action. This is why one of the main reasons I left the Democratic Party. When you talk about the Democrat Party helping blacks, you have to, they did good in some ways, just like the Republicans, but it's too late to bargain with these people, because if you study, you look up what being the head means and being the tail means, as far as being the head and not the tail. The tail, the difference, one of the main differences is the head moves the whole body, but the tail has to follow. And that's what the Democratic Party has done to blacks. They decide, we're going to make this a part of our platform, the immigration, the LGBT, and so all blacks can do is just be the tail in it. Now, of course, there are not many prominent black Republicans, but that's the way the way both parties work. It's not that one is gonna, neither one of them is just so over the top for blacks, but at least our numbers have a chance of increasing if we get rid of these democratic abortion platforms. And let's face it, Margaret Sanger, they introduced abortion. She called black people weeds. So, both Republicans and Democrats have to answer for the implementation of that, because the Republicans judges passed it. So they passed it in the beginning. But now it's the Democrats who seem to be pushing it the most. So get to the discuss these specific points. Get back to me. One of the things I'm also concerned about, back to the LGBT, I'm just doing this on the street, so it's not like it was arranged in order. It's just right, while I'm waiting on the bus. One of the things that people write is they write, oh, well, it was LGBT in the African society, so don't say it's only whites. Of course we're not saying that, but what we're saying is, what culture celebrates it? What culture embraces it? It's plain to see what culture is pushing it and embracing it. They said they wanted to live their lives. Most people in America, we say, hey, live and let live. So they said they wanted to live their lives, but then what happened? They wanted to shut a Colorado baker down, shut his business down, shut a photographer down, because they didn't want to participate in the gay wedding. But I thought it was live and let live. You don't want to let the Colorado baker live. The gays used to come in and shop all the time. He baked them cupcakes, cookies, whatever they wanted. But then when it came to the gay marriage, he didn't choose to bake the cake. And they was going to shut him down. And if Clinton had got elected, he was going to shut him down. People need answers to these questions. You just can't turn a blind eye and say, well, then bake the cake, man. No, you can't do that. Because the whole movement started off on a lie. They said they were going to live and let live. Then they had the Pentagon was paying millions of dollars for their operations in the military to turn from male genitalia to female genitalia. All this type of millions of dollars. When you have blacks who still lagging in education, still do your research. It's one of the things that some of these people commenting wouldn't even be making these comments if they did their research. This is not a political viable people that refuse to do their research on these issues, then post comments. Then they had the bathroom issue. They wanted to force the have trans into the female bathrooms on school campuses. If Obama had passed that on school campuses, they wanted to force this. Now, I thought it was supposed to be live and let live. This is not a live and let live mentality. They were trying to force this down people's throats. They started off with a lie. It still is a lie. They're saying that, oh, I was attracted when I was younger. They've done research that say, depending on how you were brought up, at a young age, you could actually confuse based on the trauma in the home and based on the dad connecting or the mom being overbearing. You could actually connect more with the mom being a male, and then you could confuse that attachment to sexualized feelings as you grow older. So it's not what you were attracted to per se. If you were if nature had meant you to be that, come on. We hate to get graphic, but we have to get graphic. If nature had wanted you to be that, it would have made allotment for the male to be able to receive sexually from another same sex as it does for the female. But we see that doesn't work. We see the AIDS, just go to the CDC, the STD rates have been skyrocketing in that community, and now it's even more skyrocketing STDs. Syphilis, gonorrhea is off the chain in that community. And then you have buffoonish responses to this, like, oh, if you let them marry, it's gonna go down. The sexual transmitted disease is gonna go down. No, just read the Bloomberg article the other day. It's still skyrocketing. And let's not get into all the other. We don't want to be vice with this. We're not trying to go vice, but we are trying to point out how blacks have to reconsider their position and bow out of the Democratic Party. It's turned into a fluke. They had under Clinton, they had the minimum mandatory guidelines, sending a man to jail for 15 years over some crack, over a small amount of crack, all this nonsense. And then these are the people who are on our side. No, it's time to leave.